Before I started this journey, I'd never even heard of Mexico's 5th largest state, Oaxaca. But as it turns out, it has everything. Beautiful mountains, stunning coastline, incredible food, ancient Zapotec ruins, amazing street art, and so much more. So for the first time on my trip, I decided to stop heading south and took some time to explore this amazing part of Mexico. I set out from Oaxaca City with hopes to ride down to the coast and then back to the city once again. Along the way, exploring some of the lesser traveled parts of the state, visiting remote indigenous towns high up in the mountains, taking on trails that have probably never been traveled by bike, and experiencing the kindness and generosity of the locals. And to get started, I just had to make my way out of the city and into the countryside.
The clouds left the sun no work but to yawn, and the icicles falling down the trees up above.
Well, a very misty morning has turned into a beautiful day to be cycling through Mexico.
Days drifted by. My mother, she died knowing she was the fool, and the rest of my life was wrapped up in the glove, and the baby beneath
Buenos días.
cried out for some. Once life was hard for a boy on his own. Rags on my body, which was just skin and bone, and I'd fight everything that stood in my way.
Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo?
Una señora no estaba allí.
¿Es señora?
Ajá.
No sé.
Una señora, será morena. Dale, gracias.
Buenos días.
The warmth and the flowers, they beckoned you come, and my life now means something, for at last it's begun. This baby's alive. It's good.
Concrete here in Mexico
For each other,
means very, very steep.
but the life that we live has its depth,
It's not something you want to see.
and our children will have everything we can give, for we'll teach them that love is the life that we live. My mother and father did not understand that happiness and love go hand in hand. They lived for the things that we sometimes think of, and the baby beneath cried out for some.
Whoa, that was a big goat. That's beautiful. This route through the mountains used to only be dirt roads, but sometime last year they actually built this big highway up here. And it looks like it's not going to rain, so I'm going to crack on and try and make it past the highway, find somewhere a little quieter to camp.
If I had a boat like I'd take you safely o'er the main. Had I the gifts of
And now all that stands between me and the coast is these mountains right here.
the city on Tara's plain, and give the sword and spear to those afraid, the stone and cauldron to the poor. If I had a boat like or the gifts of the Tadana.
Better.
And I love could ever be good of passage across the sea, and doubtlessly new lands would bar our way, with
Hola, buenos días. ¿Sabe dónde está la tienda?
Una tienda, hay una aquí. Si se
¿Aquí?
sigue
Sí.
derechito,
Sí.
a ver en la esquina está una tiendita, o si guste bajar al centro,
Ah,
ahí
sí.
hay dos tiendas,
Sí,
un poquito
sí.
más grandes que tienen un poquito
Ah,
más de
sí,
cosas.
sí. Perfecto.
Ajá.
Gracias. Que te vaya bien.
Seem half so wide. If I had
No donkey? You don't want to be friends? Go.
I'd take you safely o'er the main. Had I the gifts of the dad and night, I'd
that it?
build a city on Tara's plain.
Rapidito.
Fear to those afraid.
Hasta luego. Gracias.
So originally this morning I was meant to climb about 2,000 more feet, which would take me to the highest point before I hit the coast. But thanks to this rain, I don't think that's going to be possible. At some point I'm just going to have to ride out in it and hopefully find somewhere to camp. Alright, time to go find a home for the night. So last night I did a fair bit of the climb while it was getting dark, and then I came across this little barn which provided me a nice bit of cover from the road and a safe place to camp. It's definitely not my favourite camp spot ever, but I'm very grateful to have found it when I did. Now it's time to get to the top. This is actually the area I was planning on camping in last night. Instead, it's just going to be a really beautiful place to have a snack. Now I get to start going back down. Look at that. I've been climbing up and down steep mountain roads all day, and I've just made it to the top of the last one because about 20 miles down this road here is the Pacific Ocean, and I've got a 3,000 foot descent to get myself there. This is gonna be fun. That is. Wow, look at that. I really hope you lot can see what I'm seeing right now. Oh my goodness.
In your Hollywood grin, I'm a mosquito on your lips saying grace.
made it into the valley, and oh my goodness, it is much hotter down here, but it is so beautiful. Look at that. I'm also cycling directly away from some big grey clouds right now, so hopefully they don't come my way. There she is. That is the Pacific Ocean. There we go, I've made it to the coast. My legs are sore after thousands and thousands of feet of climbing the last few days. My arms are sore from I think I did 9,000 feet of descent just today. But I think it was all worth it. This is so beautiful. Just as I was packing up camp there, some people came out for a swim in the ocean and then came over and actually invited me in for some breakfast, which was really lovely, a very nice welcome to the coast. Now it's time for some highway riding. Well, what was meant to be a moderately easy day of riding along this highway here has turned out to be really, really difficult. I don't know if I got food poisoning, or maybe it's just exhaustion or dehydration, or maybe a combination of all three, but it's been a tough day. Not feeling good. At least I've got some company. I eventually made it into a little hippie town called Mazunte, where I found the energy to hike to the most southern point of Oaxaca, and I got some rest knowing tomorrow would be a new day. So I've decided it was definitely dehydration that was causing me those problems yesterday. I'm feeling a lot better this morning. And today I'm going to ride about 30 miles to meet a British guy that lives along the coast here in Oaxaca. He's invited me to come stay with him, which is very kind. And I'm going to make sure that I drink mucho de agua.
Look at all these vultures.
Well, the beach I'm meeting them on is just a few miles this way, but right in front of me is this. That is a pretty big river. Fortunately, it's very hot, so a dip in the water might be quite nice. He knows what he's doing. Now my feet are gross. Oh yeah, here it is, baby. Back at the Pacific Ocean. How you doing? Good to meet you. I went to stay with Nigel, his wife, and his many dogs, and took a couple of much-needed rest days in the beautiful Huatulco National Park. Now it was time to make my way back to the city, and the route I had planned took me along quiet roads through very rarely traveled Zapotec villages, with hopes of reaching the tallest peak in Oaxaca. But first, I just needed to climb away from the heat of the coast. Well, some pretty heavy rain has come out of nowhere, but luckily I found a cemetery, so I've managed to get a bit of shelter. The only concern is this building I'm in, the top of is completely detached from the bottom of it, and this entire wall behind me is missing. So hopefully I'm not in here too long, because I'm slightly concerned it might fall. Also, I'm encroaching on the home of a bit of a beast of a spider that I don't want to make too angry. Well, I've just made a dash to a slightly more stable shelter. I've got absolutely soaked, but it's been way too hot today, so I'm actually quite appreciating being able to cool down a little bit. It's funny, you'd think the rain would be just a massive inconvenience and these big bursts of it would be really frustrating, but I've actually grown to quite like the rain. It has this really good way of forcing you to slow down, and it kind of makes you end up spending time in places that you wouldn't have otherwise even noticed.
Took off in a blue Volkswagen that would barely run. Stopped off at the filling station to stock up on snacks and gum. Exit off the freeway, headed north on winding roads. I always choose the scenic route, cause I'm a vintage soul. Waiting at the rendezvous with dreadlock golden hair. Halfway to our destination, halfway to despair. Crooked smile and crooked teeth, no, I made that last part up. She looked like pure poetry and I looked like a crook. Oh carry on, keep heading straight towards the sun. We know the day will come and we'll crash and burn. Till that day comes, though we'll never learn.
My whole morning was spent climbing further and further up into the mountains until I arrived in a town called Shanika. Here I took a look at my route and learned that another 2,500 foot climb would take me to the next town. So feeling good, I set off to try and make it. However, quickly the road disappeared and I was pointed in the direction of a very steep and rocky hiking trail.
No puedo pasar.
Sí vas a poder, pero vas a sufrir mucho. El lunes yo le hice 2 horas y media caminando yo solo. Porque había mucho lodo, había llovido, había mucho lodo. Entonces tú vas a tardar un poco más y ya va a empezar a llover.
Sí.
Esto es apenas el inicio, porque allá arriba es lodo. Aquí son rocas. La mitad del camino es la montaña.
Sí.
Y la otra mitad está un poco más plano. Y es un poco más ancho el camino, pero así pues. Pero no hay posibilidad de que tú te vas a ir así.
¿Puedo empuje?
Puro empuje, sí. Pero no vas a poder subirte y pedalear, no vas a poder.
Perfecto.
Era mejor que tú viajaras en la mañana, en the morning.
Sí.
A esto en 1 hour begins to rain.
Sí.
Rain. Aquí es un poco más easy, fácil. Avanzar.
Sí.
Aún así vas a hacer mucha fuerza, pero más arriba está horrible. Mucho lodo. Yo pum, caí. Sí, es mejor. Wait today here. Tomorrow.
Bien. Perfecto. Gracias, señor.
¿Estás cansado? ¿You are tired?
Sí, un poco.
No, tomorrow mejor.
Gracias, señor. ¿Cómo se llama?
Mario,
Daniel. Mucho gusto.
I took Mario's advice to head back down into Shanika, and as it turns out, the locals really do know best, as the rain came, and the rain came hard. For the first time in Mexico, I decided to ask in town for somewhere to camp, and was quickly welcomed to pitch my tent by the church. I'm very grateful for the hospitality, but not so much for this road. Oh, this is going to be a tough day.
Ya más puro cortado, van allí.
Sí.
Puro cortado, pero creo que ahorita como las 4 o las 5 vas a llegar a San Andrés, aquí, guay.
Sí.
No hay carretera, pues.
Sí. Esto es no bueno, pero yo quiero voy a San Andrés.
Para verlo.
Sí, sí.
Para ver cómo están, para divertirse.
Pero es muy bonito aquí. Sí. ¿Tú eres de San Andrés o...?
Sí, yo soy de San Andrés.
Sí, sí, sí.
Aquí Shanika voy un mandado. Bueno, voy ahorita a ver a dónde vas a descansar.
Sí. Hasta luego. Oh, you're quicker than me, that's for sure. ¿Tú eres de San Andrés?
No, yo soy de acá.
Ah, sí, sí, sí.
¿No te rajas?
No.
¿No te desanimas?
No, no, no.
¿De dónde vienes, pues?
De Alaska.
¿Alaska?
Sí, sí. Pero soy de Inglaterra.
Mucho frío en Alaska.
Mucho, mucho, sí. Pero mucho caliente aquí.
¿Cómo fue que te animaste a venir solo?
No, no entiendo. Mi español es no bueno.
¿De qué país eres? O sea, que tú solo vienes.
Ah, sí, sí, sí,
¿Solo?
sí. Sí, solo.
Está cabrón. ¿Y a dónde te quedaste anoche? Aquí en Shanika.
Sí, sí, sí.
¿Quieres que te ayudemos a empujarlo?
No, no entiendo.
Vamos, pues, te ayudamos a empujarlo.
No, no, está bien.
Dale.
Gracias.
Dale, pues.
Hasta luego. Sí, sí. Well, I thought the hardest thing about this was going to be how steep it is, but it's actually how slippy it is. This mud is just ridiculous. This would have been absolutely impossible yesterday in the rain. Oh, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, but it is starting to get beautiful. Well, I'm almost 7 hours in now, and it has started to get a little easier, so I don't think it'll be too much longer before I make it. But it's brutal, and I've just got to keep pushing on because I've gathered a little swarm of mosquitoes, so anytime I stop I start getting bitten, which isn't a lot of fun. I'm pedaling! I'm actually pedaling my bike, imagine that! Oh, this feels nice. Although, it's going to be very short-lived. After 8 hours, I have now made it to the top, and the town is just at the bottom of this little hill. It's definitely a relief to make it here. That was some seriously hard work. And right now I am well and truly up in a cloud, so there's not much fruits of my labour yet, but I have no doubt when this clears, it's going to be absolutely stunning. And be so glad I made that push today. I've generally felt pretty safe during my time in Mexico, but for some reason San Andres just gave me a bad feeling. So despite the town being beautifully situated, I rode out to find somewhere to spend the night. I've never been anywhere where I've got that many confused looks as to what I'm doing there. So I've headed back out. I'm going to try and find a nice spot in the mountains here. Oh, that is beautiful. I'd now made it to San Antonio Oxalotepec, my final town before summiting the tallest mountain in Oaxaca. So after waiting out some unusual morning rain, I stocked up with enough food for a few days and rode out into the clouds. Well, the rain has started. Of course, normally I'd now hide out in a town, but there aren't any, so no choice but to just hide in the forest. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. Well, the rain got a lot heavier, so I quickly pitched on my tent here in the forest. Not an ideal spot at all, but as long as it keeps me dry, that's all that matters. I fear this may be a common theme of the next few days. This rain is just relentless, and my waterproof jacket here isn't waterproof, so that's fun. Still raining. It's starting to clear up just a little bit now, and I can get a glimpse of just how beautiful this route would be if it wasn't for the rain. It's been like 3 hours non-stop now. I'm absolutely soaked. It's a shame. So down in this valley here, there's a river that I can hear right now, and I'm pretty sure I remember where the road crosses that river, there's a house. I remember seeing it on a satellite view. So hopefully, if I can just get down there, I can find some shelter, find some cover. There it is, there's hope, there's shelter. Well, I've managed to find a little bit of shelter, so I'm a lot drier and a bit warmer now. And I've had a little look at the weather forecast, and it's actually going to rain like this all day until tomorrow. It also turns out this road right here is the road I was meant to take to go further up into the mountains. But of course today that is not going to be a good idea. The good news though is that about 2 miles down this road here, there is a town that I wasn't planning on going to, but I think I'm just going to have to make the detour. Try and spend the night there, see if I can get a room to rent, because I need to dry off all my clothes. Almost everything is wet now. I've gone for it. The rain's not too bad right now, but I can barely see anything. Well, here's the town. Let's just hope I can find somewhere to stay. The very first people I saw in the town welcomed me in with a shot of mezcal and even offered me a place to stay.
You can stay in my room. Got the shower, I got the
Thank you so much.
Probably one of my friends got the dryer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What's your name? Martin. Daniel. Daniel, sí. Thank you.
It's not real clean because I'm single.
Okay, it's fine. It's okay for me. I don't care. So I spent the night at Martin's, who left in the early hours of the morning to hike to a town across the valley. I did start getting a little anxious though, because he was a little bit drunk last night, and he suddenly pulled this out from underneath his bed, which definitely makes you a little nervy when you're about to share a room with someone. But nonetheless, very grateful. Oh, and he also gave me some dry shoes and socks. Now, the problem I have is none of my clothes have really dried at all. And although the weather is a bit better today, there's still no sun, and a little bit of sun would go a long way. However, I can now see some of the area, and it is really beautiful. And as if Martin's hospitality wasn't enough, he also told me to head down to his aunt's house for breakfast and coffee before I left. Gracias. Es muy delicioso.
Ah, a ver si no pica.
No, es pronto.
Beans. Beans.
Beans, yeah, beans.
¿Quiere beans?
Sí, por favor, sí. Entiendo frijoles. Frijoles fue la primera palabra que aprendí en México.
Oh, porque es lo que comemos.
Just as I was about to leave, the rain came once more, and aside from a couple of breaks where I got to appreciate the beauty of this area, it was relentless all day. But luckily for me, Mexican hospitality is like no other. That family just welcomed me into their home. They fed me lunch. They were so kind to me. That was just such a beautiful experience. And now that the rain has died down a bit, the sun is setting somewhere behind all these clouds. So I'm just going to ride out for about an hour to this kind of scenic viewpoint where they told me there's a bit of shelter. I think that's where I'll spend the night. It'll likely be dark when I get there, but hopefully I'll wake up to some clear skies and get to enjoy a pretty amazing view. Well, apart from the fact that I'm camped on a literal construction site, this is a pretty amazing place to wake up. The views over all of these mountains is just absolutely insane. Some people have already come to start working, so I should probably get moving soon, although they're really friendly. I've already been offered some mezcal at 7 in the morning.
Evening come and evening go, and we make out to pass the time.
Look at that. Just so beautiful.
Close the curtains, close your eyes, and
well, this is a new one. One of the bolts on my rear brake has just completely come out. Luckily I noticed it partway through a very steep downhill. Isn't it a good job cable ties exist?
We know the day will come and we'll crash and burn. Till that day comes, though, we'll never learn. Next day we walked
And the clouds are back.
into the woods. Skinny dipped and I would have stayed there forever if I could. But the phone rang and I answered voices, where the hell are you? I'm just stuck in traffic, baby, I'll be home soon. She says, man, I don't believe you, I think you're with that gang. I said, come on, baby, there's no need to call her names. She says, man, I'm leaving you, I won't be here when you get back. I said, that's okay with me, I guess that resolved itself.
Well, this is what happens when you try and follow roads that aren't on maps. Currently battling a little swamp.
We know the day will come and we'll crash and burn. Till that day comes, so we'll never learn. Oh, carry on, oh, carry on. Keep headed straight towards the sun. We know the day will come and we'll crash and burn. Till that day comes, though, we'll never learn.
I couldn't help but feel a little low after giving up on my dream of summiting the tallest mountain in Oaxaca. Well, at least until the rain started. I am glad I didn't go up that mountain today. Would not be fun up there right now. And luckily for me, there was still plenty of this amazing state to be explored.
Hola, burros. Oh my goodness, look at that. Looks like that is going to be my next climb for the day. Well, I think so. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Gracias. Almost at the top now. I think I'm about to say goodbye to these beautiful mountains that I've been riding through all day. This has just been unbelievable. Well, this is a rare sight in Mexico. I've now descended a fair bit out of the mountains, which is why it's not raining here. And from the looks of it, it's been raining up there all day. So I'm glad I have, but it is also much warmer down here. So I'm going to be going through a lot more water, and that is very much appreciated. Buenas tardes. What a beautiful day to be bikepacking through Mexico. Now, I've got to go down there. Better. What are you doing out here? You must be so hot. You look so hungry, bless you.
I'd now made it to a friendly little town called San Pedro Totalapa, where I was allowed to camp at the Palacio Municipal. And I set off early the next morning to start a 2-day climb to somewhere very special. So in the 170 miles since I left the coast, I have climbed about 30,000 feet. And my legs are just absolutely finished. But I've still got one more climb to do. Today I need to climb another 4,000 feet up to a very special place called Hieve el Agua. It's going to be worth it, but it's going to be a tough day. That up there is Hieve el Agua.
On my left you can see the valley that I've come up from. It's insane to see how far I've climbed today. It's crazy.
That is one very wet tent. But oh well, we are back to beautiful blue skies. So the actual Hieve el Agua is a place I've been to before, just a couple of miles away from here. And although it is beautiful, it is very, very touristy. And this place here is owned by this really nice and friendly family who have their own private pools. It is still really beautiful and it is much more peaceful. I couldn't imagine a better place to wake up on my final day of this journey around Oaxaca. It was so peaceful and calming. And I left with high spirits as I took on one final climb into the mountains, before descending into the Mitla Valley and soon arriving back in Oaxaca City once again.